prizes, make sure they're all within a very, very tight tolerance level. And it gets down to running a race with a team of cars, if you will. You need a partner. You have to stay with your partner. If you get shuffled from your partner, you better find somebody quick,
Yeah.
Get with them. You can't waste time here.
Well, it's one of those things in any form of racing where the draft is an issue. You certainly want to find people you can work with, friends, if you will, at least friends on the racetrack where your cars are somewhat similar in performance, and you say, hey, we'll be bunched up. We want to work together, try to get to the front here.
Yeah, you'll see these guys probably using hand signals. If they're not on the same team, they wouldn't be on the same radio frequency, so they can't talk to one another. So if you see them waving out the cockpit, they're saying, okay, line up with me, do this. And the trick here is to get 2 or 3 cars at least to run nose to tail. Touching is okay.
Yeah.
And then, but to stay down the side of the car, you would like to run a plumb bob from the front car to the fourth car and have every car touching that little string.
Yeah.
You want to keep them completely tidy because as soon as they start getting out into the air, even an inch costs you some speed.
Well, in these cars, as we watch the podium ceremonies here in GT3, there's Joe Christensen being interviewed for public address here at Daytona International Speedway. First national championship for Joe, by the way, in his 3rd try. You think about the draft and how this should work in Spec Racer Ford. You were talking to us yesterday about these chassis, the aluminum pan on the front, the fiberglass bodies. You can bump draft. We got to be careful though, right?
Yeah, you hit somebody too hard, and there's a little pan underneath the front, in front of the radiator, and if you hit hard enough to get through the fiberglass shell, then it'll hit that little aluminum piece. It'll bend up. It'll close off the radiator entry. You'll overheat. Yeah. That's going to happen anyway. If you stay too long behind and up underneath the guy, more than like one full lap around here, your temperatures are going to soar. When the engine gets really hot, it's going to start losing efficiency and horsepower will drop. So you have to make a deal with the guy in front of you. You have to wave at him and say, I got a lead now, let me by, and he's got to let you by.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That hand signaling and those kinds of ways to communicate driver to driver can make all the difference in a race like this.
Well, the good news is you're only 5 feet from it.
Well, there you go. At least you're not trying to holler at him.
You can tap him on the helmet if you do it properly.
40 cars in this lineup, 20 rows of 2 as we get these Spec Racer Fords ready to roll out here at Daytona International Speedway. How big a pack will we see at the front of the field?
Well, here's what needs to happen. They're going to be side by side when they get to greens. When they get down into turn 1 and after they get out through turn 2 and 3, the smart guys will get to single file as quick as possible. The longer they stay side by side, the front group that will be single file will get away. You want to be in that group, so you have to think into your mind, I got to get single file with this main group. Now, which group do you go with when they're side by side? Obviously, you're going to go down into turn 1 and pick somebody that you've made friends with, hopefully, and go from there.
Yeah, that is the key, no question about it, as we get a victory lane shot of Joe Christensen's Acura-bodied machine, your national champion in GT3 and the rest of the GT3 competitors.
Nice clean body work on that car, and that's another thing that we talked about yesterday with these Spec Racer Fords is the clean body work. Take all the gaps away from the nose section to the center section, the center section to the rear section. Get all of those things lined up. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to do it. You got to shim everything and make them all, but man, does it pay dividends here.
No question. That would be one of the things to do. And in Spec Racer Ford, you mentioned all 3 sections of the body are adjustable here.
Yeah, they are. You can raise the height from the center to the front, the rear, and if you make yourself an aero wedge car, that's good for downforce, but it's not particularly good on this high bank straightaway. So what I do instead is make everything seamless, straight across the back.
Yeah,
from the front to the back.
And the better prepared cars certainly have a better opportunity to get to the front and stay there in this one. Pole sitter Cliff White ran a lap of 2:14.3 and then loaded it up. He said, okay, boys, that's good enough. Didn't take time the rest of the weekend.
That's amazing, too, because he's a strong competitor.
Oh, yeah.
Been here a long time.
Yep, absolutely. And you go to the back of the field, Reed Johnson from Minnesota, 39th quick qualifier at 2:21.5. So about a 7-second gap front to back in this field. And it'll be interesting to see how many cars are able to stay in the front group. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is one we see decided on the last lap.
Cliff White has got a full 1-second lead on the entire field. That's unheard of. And suspect in my mind, too, I would say.
We will see how it happens and how it goes here. White will be wanting to drive away, if he can, when we go green in a few moments. At Daytona International Speedway, coverage of the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoff Spec Racer Ford about to come onto the racetrack. 40 of these spec racers will do battle in our next 50-mile event. I'm Rick Benjamin, Dorsey Schrader alongside. Hayward Wagner has our coverage today on pit road. A steamy, muggy, late September day. Some cloud cover has developed, which could change track conditions. Dorsey, how critical are the track conditions to a spec racer Ford?
Not as much as normal. I mean, they run a street or a DOT tire, so these tires don't change in their habits that much. But, you know, it could cause rain, and that changes everything.
That would change everything. All right, we have a Garmin Verb fast lap of the 3.5-mile Daytona International Speedway road course. We'll take you around here with our 6th quick qualifier, Richard Baldwin. He's from Madisonville, Louisiana, driving the Baldwin Motors Spec Racer Ford. Here he is heading down through the banking, coming to the start-finish stripe.
It'll be very rare to see one of these cars with nothing but another car in front of it as they're draft dependent. Goes down off the banking to the flat. This is turn 1-2. They just lead right to go. Ooh, white car up ahead almost got in the barrier. Very quick through, flat out with these cars. You're really thinking strategy all the way around this racetrack as you come down here, brake zone for the International Horseshoe. It's a 180-degree right-hand corner. It's flat, very slippery. Slowest corner on the track. You want to get off of this corner really good because it leads to the longest straightaway that's on the infield, and that straightaway brings you down to the kink, which on these cars will be flat out, left-hand bend. It's not easy to do that properly, and then you come into the first really hard brake zone. Down for the right-hander, it's an off-camber right-hand 1/8. It's a 90-degree corner, but as you see the cars get loose up in front of you, it's easy to lose traction right here. This leads down a short chute to the left-hander. What you really want to concentrate on carrying exit speed on, it leads you back onto the banking. And that's a really early turn, and that car just did.
Yeah.
Puts him out across the curb. That can upset the car too. Then it's up onto the banking. With all these cars nowadays, you're third gear through there, now you're up to fourth gear, and you're just flat out. You're looking for a draft. You're looking in the rearview mirror to make sure who's behind me. You see 3 cars drop down. They've trapped a guy up by the wall, and that's not doing him any favors. I'm surprised the second place, that car right there went up to help him, or to even go up there at all. Anyway, you go down the back straightaway, you get to terminal velocity as far as fast as the car will go, and you're into the bus stop. A chicane built to help with tire wear and temperature. It's a flick to the left, about 45 degrees, and a flick to the right, and then you straighten the car up and do it again, right-left this time, and back up on the banking you go. These cars don't require all the racetrack. They're pretty slow on top speed. As one of the cars wants to drop back, you see him drop out of the rotation. Down by this double yellow line, you'll see the whole race run down there, and you'll run off the turn 3, turn 4 banking, a little wiggle from the 2 cars that are drafting up ahead, and look at the pull you'll get if you're the third place car. Watch this. He'll just pull right on up in here as we head start-finish line up ahead here in the tri-oval.
Baldwin running 129 miles an hour, now starting to lose some speed.
Yeah, he did. Actually, the 2 cars drafting outran him.
Yeah. All right, field starting to roll off on a pace lap here at Daytona. Let's check in with Hayward Wagner.
Guys, another spec class rolling off the grid here at the SCCA Runoff Spec Racer Ford. We've seen the Generation 3 cars. We've seen the Spec Miata cars. We've seen several races that we thought would be 5, 6, 7, 8 cars in the lead draft on the last lap. The reality has been here at Daytona, it is very hard to stay perfect and in the lead draft for 14 laps. And almost all of those races, we've seen a 1 or 2 car breakaway set the pace. So watch for these guys in 3rd through 10th to really try to hold on to that draft and see if they can stay out of trouble in the infield and keep hold of the leaders.
Hayward's totally on the money right there. You know, if you get shuffled out of the draft, if you get, for whatever reason, out of your timing, out of your sync with the cars around you, and you have to lift for a moment and you drop back, you will fall like a stone. You know, and then your chance right there of catching back up is limited to whoever you can hook up with and try to run them down.
Sure, and the banking here, most of this racetrack and most of the 3.5 miles is on the high banks here. The bus stop and the infield section, not nearly as long as the run that you have to make around most of the 2.5 mile oval.
Well, with the equal cars, with everybody being spec car, you can't make much ground on this infield because everybody's got the same stop. So where do you make ground? Up there on the banking where drafting makes probably as much as a 10-mile-per-hour difference. You know, if you can pick up 10 miles per hour, you can't do it here on the infield. You got to do it up there.
Absolutely. All right, here's your lineup. Cliff White on the pole in the 58. He's from Huntsville, Alabama, in the Valvoline machine. Lee McNeish from Southbury, Connecticut, a New England region competitor, in the 122 will start alongside. Second row, Herb Sweeney from Arlington, Massachusetts, in the 34. David Donovan from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the Dakota Racing 77 lines up fourth. Third row, Eddie Stripling from McKinney, Texas, the SCI Motorsports 5. Richard Baldwin, we rode with him a moment ago. Madisonville, Louisiana is where his hometown is. Baldwin Motors is the sponsor of the 25 car. Daniel McBreen from Atlanta, Georgia starts 7th in the 104. That's the PM Racing machine. Robert Reed in the 3 from Winchester, New Hampshire, the IceRace.com car. He'll line up in 8th. Row number 5, Jeff Lehner in the 79 from Ballston Spa, New York, the Johnstown Auto Parts entry. Bruce Myers in the 128 from Greenland, New Hampshire, the Seacoast Psychiatry machine. That is starting in 10th position. Chris Curran from Silver Spring, Maryland, the Hagerman Race Engineering 01, and starting 12th in the 9, Derek Schofield from Lakeland, Florida, the PM Racing 9 car. Scott Redditch from Columbus, Ohio, and the Alliance Autosports 17 goes 13th. Mick Robinson in the 75 from Melbourne, Florida, starts 14th. Neil Tilbor from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, right down the street here for the Picture and Frame machine. That's the 82 car. He'll start 15th. Joseph Wolf in the 4 from East Nassau, New York, is 16th on the grid. 17th starter, the 87 of John Annis from Tampa, Florida, make that the PM Racing entry. Whitney Strickland from Houston, Texas starts in the 18th spot on the 08. That's the Calculated Controls sponsored car. Grayson Strathman from Topeka, Kansas is your 19th starter in the 49. Starting 20th in the 14th, Clay Sylvester from League City, Texas. That's the Select Oilfield Services entry. 21st starter, the 2, Jacob People from Oakland, California, the Willpower Racing entry. Starting 22nd of the 27, Quentin Nelson from Newark, Ohio, the Alliance Autosport car. 23rd starter, the 84, Eric Bassian from Atlanta, Georgia. Dave Auer from Hilton Head, South Carolina, in the 71, lines up 24th. 25th starter, Justin Weir in the 81 from Johns Island, South Carolina. Starting 26th in the 47, Matt Harper from Charlotte, North Carolina. 27th starter, the 89, David Shaw from St. Paul, Minnesota. 28th, Bill Ladonsky from Odessa, Florida. That's the 18 car. Steve Ladonsky from Palm Harbor, Florida, lines up next in the 21. He'll be 29th on the grid. 30th starter, the 22nd, David Livingston, the 22 car from Gainesville, Georgia. 31st in the 13, Tom Riley from New Fairfield, Connecticut. 32nd in the 46, Ken Riley from New Canaan, Connecticut. 33rd starter, Will Douglas from Appleton, Wisconsin. That's the 41 car. Kurt Breitlinger from Martinez, Georgia, will start the 28 car in the 34th spot. 35th starter, the 86, David Kanosh from Greensboro, North Carolina. Jim Tybor from Cortland, Ohio, in the 68 goes 36th. 37th, the 82, Thomas Kirchman. Then you've got Gillette Strickland in the 38th position, Reed Johnson, Randy Youngsma, the rest of your starting field. Safety car about to head to pit road. 40 cars ready to fight it out for Spec Racer Ford Honors. Dorsey Schrader, this ought to be a terrific race.
I'm holding my breath on this. They got it pretty tidy at the start here. Pace car's in. Oh, a big shuffle already. I don't think the green's out.
We saw him go 5 wide at times here yesterday through the tri-oval. Green flag does wave, even though some cars had bolted out of line. 5 and 6 wide in the tri-oval. And your leader going down into 1, Cliff White in that purple 58 car.
Already a little bump drafting as we enter turn 1. I don't know that to do that on the first lap. Somebody out wide is going to be trapped over there.
The 22 car, the 122 of Lee McNeish, your second starter, already shuffled outside.
Wow, they made it through here. Turn 1, 2, that gets dicey.
The 77 car making a move. David Donovan, your fourth starter, working on the 122, trying to get around him. The outside lane got stuck, it looks like, as everybody tries to chase Cliff White.
White with a huge advantage already by the nature of this series. I mean, you never see that much of a lead.
The 34 of Herb Sweeney moving into second spot.
3 wide with contact back there, and somebody's
spinning. Car around. He's okay. Looks like he's safe.
He was pushed off into the grass, the 9 car.
That's Derek Schofield from Lakeland, Florida, one of the PM Racing entries. They have a lot of cars in the field here. Another big scramble. A couple of cars getting shuffled into the grass.
Not good. We got body parts laying all over the place.
We do.
There's a rear section. 77 car gets righted and heads on. There's a car over there by the tire wall, one upstream from that.
It's like the 82 was in some trouble as well. Those were cars in the lead group. Everybody funneling up out of the banking, and we'll see whether they can clean that up enough to stay green or not, or if we have to have a caution flag here on lap number 1.
Cars are very, very strong, so I'm sure all the cars can continue. Now, whether they can get the body work out of there, that's a whole different story.
I would say we're going to see a full course yellow
he's
here on
getting
lap
out.
1. Yep.
So with him getting out,
racetrack.
that'll force a hand. It's going to have to go full course yellow.
Fiberglass body section in the middle of that racetrack. White opening up about a dozen car lengths here on the second place runner.
Boy, that's just, I don't know how that car can be. Cliff White's car is really, really fast. These are spec cars. There shouldn't be any car really, really fast.
Now they're trying to clear this out. Now I'm not sure if they would consider the Napa car, the 77, to be in a safe spot, and it looks...
It just went full course, so they had to do that. I mean, that's the proper thing to do.
That is the 79 car that was in some jeopardy over there on the left side. Jeff Lehner from Ballston Spa, New York, the Johnstown Auto Parts entry, 9th quick qualifier. So Lehner's race comes a cropper, not even half a lap into the books, and we will get a caution on lap number 1.
So if I'm Lee McNeish in second place, I'm looking at already lost 20 car lengths to Cliff White. I got to figure out how did that happen as we look at the replay.
Take a look here first. This was the 9 car going around the first part of the problem. Derek Schofield,
and
he was out of the way.
That actually happened further up the road. That happened as the exit of the kink. He got pushed into the grass.
He was able to refire and keep going.
Yeah, and behind that, it causes a stack up. This car...
But you already had this going on further up the racetrack.
Yeah, 3 cars been together here, 4 actually, because the red car's sitting in the tire wall.
That was the 79 that's left side, and then the car in the infield here, you don't see a car number on it. That was the body part.
I'll be honest with you, if that were me right there with the back end, if I only lost the body work, I think I'd try to see if that didn't make me faster.
Could you continue?
Yeah, I'd
around here, would that make you faster? I think all the drag back there would.
It might mess you up, and you're going to be in a draft. But without that rear spoiler, it could be loose. And it's hard to say. I'd have tried it though.
See if he can refire and rejoin the action here.
I'll finish with less than that. There's one missing bodywork right there.
That could be that car that we were talking about. We didn't see a car number, but someone has lost the rear engine cover bodywork toward the back of the field. Take another look at how this skirmish happened.
That was just a
scattered for the
stack up,
grass there. Yeah.
That was just a stack up due to that wreck up front, and with that, everybody's into everybody.
So the 18 get in some trouble there and get back up on the racetrack.
So we're going to clean up this mess and lose a lap or 2.
It'll take a few moments to get sorted out here. We will stay under caution for now.
Nobody really even established a rhythm. You haven't been under the banking yet. You just did the infield.
Yeah, you're just trying to get sorted out. Bill Ladonsky in the 18, the car that we saw bounce through the grass. All right. As the safety workers continue their service on the racetrack here, the infield portion of Daytona International Speedway, we'll take our break early. Spec Racer Ford coverage will continue in these 2015 SCCA National Championship runoffs in just a moment.
The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize. Family cruising. Now in the garage, something new. Reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
Back live at Daytona International Speedway, Spec Racer Ford on track here on Sunday, final day of these 2015 SCCA National Championship runoffs. Looks like the 75 car will need a tow. They put the bodywork back on. Mick Robinson's car not completing lap number 1, so he's already a lap down. His chances of honors here today gone certainly at this point, but they will tow that car to a safe area at the very least after putting the rear body shell back on.
And these cars, like I said, they are extremely strong. He's got a left rear knocked off. I see it right there now. The left rear has got a bunch of toe out. So he's that's why he's not continuing. They're very, very strong cars. When they hit side to side, you can pretty much just continue on. But in that particular case, he's definitely bent that left rear. You see the tires knocked in and out.
It'll take some work over the winter to get that car back in shape to go racing next year.
Have that run in 15 minutes.
Well, maybe you should leave here, go help him out, get him back in action. Safety car heads to pit road. This will be lap number 2 of 14. We'll go green with Cliff White, your restart leader, Denny Stripling, Herb Sweeney, Lee McNish, Daniel McBreen, your top 5. Scott Redditch up into 6th here in the 17 car. We'll see if Redditch can get going as he tries to earn yet another national championship. Down into turn 1, 3 wide and 1 here.
That's not advisory. That won't pay off dividends at all.
25 car gets through in the middle. That's Richard Baldwin.
Everybody better be just concentrating on one car, Cliff White. The fact that he got that far ahead, you can't let him do that again. That was a big mistake by the first lap of the last retry of the season.
Baldwin in the 25, McBreen in the 104 have had a good fight going on. Top 4 start to separate themselves a little bit here. White, Stripling, Sweeney, and McNish in the 122, and this is White.
See, these guys past 4th place are killing themselves. They're just absolutely killing themselves. Being side by side through all these corners, watch what happens when they get to the banking. They won't even be in the race anymore.
The 19 car in the mix there. There's the 17, that's Redditch.
Top
7th
4
spot.
going to do a breakaway. Maybe the 5th can tag on, but I'm not sure. Damage here on the front of this car, didn't get the number, but it's going to overheat. Like I was telling you right there.
Oh, yeah, behind the 104.
He's got no radiator inlet at all. That white with blue stripe car.
Baldwin in the 25 has kind of the day-low numbers as the field hits the banking here.
There's a good 2-car draft. That's what you need to be doing right now. Maybe teammates there, I'm not sure. There's a 2-car draft just done properly.
Yeah, the 34 car, that's Sweeney in 3rd spot and the 122 of McNish in 4th position.
That's the only way you're going to catch that white up in the front there. And you see the 3rd place cars, 2 of them pushed together.
One car hung out on the outside, headed to the bus stop there. Looks like he's got a problem. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he was in way too shallow, and that wasn't going to work. Now these guys are going to just leave him in the dust here in a minute.
And there's plenty of dust.
Here's everybody partnering up right now, like we talked about before. This is not working for these 2 guys either. That's just going to kill them.
Baldwin in the 25 gave us our Garmin Verb in-car lap of Daytona a few moments ago, but having trouble getting into the right place here on the racetrack.
Some of these guys,
charging toward the front.
New to drafting, or maybe even new to the class, they don't realize this is how you're going to win this race. 2-car team, 2-car team. They're really fast. All those guys side by side, they're racing for 20th right now.
Yeah. White out in front, the 5 car. Denny Stripling, that white and red trimmed entry in 2nd spot. He and White hooked up in a nice draft through the tri-oval, 3rd and 4th. Sweeney in that white 34, McNish in the 122. They also had hooked up together. 5th spot to Grayson Strathman in the 49. Now, he's done a nice job. That's that black entry that we saw. Strathman had gone sideways a couple of times, but he has been able to capitalize and move into the top 5 after starting back a ways in that car. So we give him a lot of credit for moving up nicely here.
122, there's damaged his under tray a little bit. It's not restricting the airflow to the radiator yet, but it's weakened it, and there's only one support right in the center, and you see that it's pushed up already from that drafting. So he's going to have to be cognizant of making his contacts very gentle.
As we watch the top 2, White and Stripling continuing to run together through the infield section here of Daytona.
Nicely done. These 2 can pull away from the whole train if they just continue on like they're doing. But, man, I'm telling you, White's car is fast.
But speaking to what we were talking about at the top of the broadcast, Ors, when you see a field like this, spec cars, everybody with the same tire, engine, chassis package, driving talent and setup is crucial, obviously. Grayson Strathman, 5th in that black 49 car as they came through the infield. He started 19th. Now, some of that's due to the scramble that we had down there in the infield on lap 1, but 19th to 5th.
Yeah, he's got momentum going for him, that's for sure. And sometimes that pays big dividends, too. Just the fact that you've come that far.
He's on the outside of this group of 3, 5th, 6th, and 7th. He's going to give up
so
a good spot.
He's being really aggressive. He's trying to make passes happen where everybody else is trying to be disciplined and in line. If he can get to the front of that pack and they'll work with him, that could still work.
Strathman with Myers and McBreen back there fighting it out for fifth. Top two here, Cliff White in the purple 58 car, and Stripling in the white 5.
You know, Stripling unable. He's trying like heck to get up there in that bump draft and the push, but he can't catch that car. And that is amazing.
Sweeney and McNish working together again. There they are on the trial. Well, here comes Stripling up to close in on White.
Watch this group in second.
Third and fourth doing a nice job to close in on the leaders here.
See, what's awkward about this situation is White's car is so fast that Stripling can't catch him until right at the end of the straightaway. In the meantime, the car that's running third right now has a drafting partner, and he's run down that deficit that they had the lap before. Those two cars together will be faster.
Yeah. Sweeney in the 34, McNish in the 122, working together nicely here, running in third and fourth spot.
For Stripling, I mean, he's going to have to stay closer to the back of White. Otherwise, you know, they're in trouble. I don't know why White has that much speed. Making a car quicker than what they are when you have a spec car, that's, you know, it's addressing a lot of issues, obviously, and I'm sure he's done that.
Well, one of the things you find in a class like this, where it is a spec category, everybody's with the same engine package, the same race car for all intents and purposes, the little things that you can do can mean an awful lot. If you stack up 4 or 5 tiny improvements, yesterday we talked about the shape of a mirror in Formula V. That would be operative here too.
Absolutely. You got to polish every single aspect of what that car is. Now look, the third place car is going to catch that. The fourth and third are hooked together already.
Yeah.
These guys can't run together because the White's car is too fast. And so watch what happens now, because these two cars that are hooked together, they're going to just run.
Trouble for the 17. Scott Redditch in trouble. In the infield section here, he went around evidently. That's where you come back up onto the racetrack.
And here they come. That third place battle is going to become a second place car in a minute.
Here's the 3-car freight train, 5th, 6th, 7th in play.
And that'll work too. 3 cars is what we found to work very, very well.
In these cars particularly, that does work. And down to the inside to the bus stop here, Grayson Strathman in the 49, Bruce Myers right with him there. Also in the mix there. Strathman not in this group any longer. The 7 car, looks like Jacob Heupel in the 2 has gotten into the mix here. There's Baldwin in the 25. He's hooked up with, I believe that's Myers in the 128 right in front of him here.
Yeah, those guys doing a good job. They're going to move to the high side, just drive right by this poor guy. And the 7 can't do a thing about it.
A lot of shuffling here in the field. These cars running 5th, 6th, and 7th. Baldwin takes a peek to the outside.
That could be to get some air to the radiator.
Could be.
Really hot outside, 90 degrees or very near to it.
And if you're in this position, if you're 5th, 6th, and 7th in a 40-car field, that's certainly not a bad place to be. That is Myers in the 128, the red and white car. Baldwin in the 25. Meantime, we check in with the leaders. The first 4 continue to run 2 and 2 and add to their advantage here through the infield. But if you're further back, and if you're 5th, 6th, and 7th, you've got to be thinking, we've got to get together in a 3-car draft, hope for a caution to try to catch these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to get something working for you. As you can tell, all that side-by-side racing, like I said, turned this into a 4-car run. Excuse me, up in the front. But I think Herb Sweeney in 3rd place and Lee McNish, I think those 2 guys have got the ticket. If they can just keep working together like they did before.
That's McNish in the 122, the red car.
As I say, that Denny Stripling finally now. Now, Cliff White's smart. He might be slowing his car down so that he can get Denny Stripling to come and draft with him. And then once Denny Stripling's up underneath there, he can accelerate again and tow him along and get away from these 2.
Cliff White has led all the way after qualifying on the pole in that purple 58 car. White racing out of Huntsville, Alabama, the Tennessee Valley region of the Sports Car Club of America.
There you go. See how long it takes for him to catch him up? The sooner he catches you up like that, the better your overall effect will be.
Sure. Denny Stripling right there, not bumping White, which is good. Nice and smooth there.
These
3rd
guys
and 4th, though, trying to reel him in. Sweeney and McNish.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th are doing exactly what they need to do.
5th, 6th, and 7th, not so much.
And for Cliff White, if in fact he's that much stronger, I would feather the throttle. I would make sure that that Stripling could come up and get to me quickly.
Yeah.
Here he comes. I think that's what he's doing now. I think he's slowing himself up to allow the contact to be made. Because if he doesn't do that, those guys in third and fourth are going to whistle right by here shortly.
How competitive is this field? It's Spec Racer Ford to the top four, separated by 0.6 of a second, third and fourth, hooking up again as they come to the trial.
That's what I was looking at before. Cliff White had 1 second on the next car, which was McNeish. From McNeish to 14th, so from second to 15th actually, was all within 1 second.
Yeah.
So there's only one really fast car, and it's the leader right now. But he can play the game. I mean, if he uses his speed wisely, he won't run away from his second place drafting partner.
White out in front. Denny Stripling in second there in the white 5 car. Third belongs to Herb Sweeney, the fourth at the 34. They bump up over the curb. Fourth spot belongs to Lee McNeish in the 122.
On one-on-one, Cliff White can't be beat. It's going to take a tag team combination to get to him.
If you're White, are you thinking, I want to break the draft on Stripling?
No, you know, you need him. You definitely need him. You want to keep him back there for as long
Play
as
defense
possible.
on third and fourth.
I think the best chance that Stripling has is that to get up underneath the back end and have White tow him around to the last and then spin him. That's the only way.
That's not very sporting.
Well, you can say it was a mistake.
Okay.
They all do.
Up onto the banking. Turn 1 of the NASCAR Oval here at Daytona International Speedway. Cars dropping down toward the double.
Now this is good. He's catching him up much quicker. They're just now coming off NASCAR 2. There he is. He's pushing him
Up
off.
that time.
That'll keep them separated from third and fourth place, which are doing the same thing. Before they were stretched out and they wouldn't catch him. Until it was time to break for the bus stop. That is no advantage. So if it's Cliff White and I've got so much power I can outrun this field, I'll just play the game now.
Sure.
I'll have Stripling help me all day long, and then I'll leave him at the end.
Working lap 7, the field will see halfway next time by in this 50-mile chase. There's 5th, 6th, 7th. This is for 8th and 9th coming through the bus stop now. The yellow car.
Is what I like to call his 5th through the rest.
Yeah. And then the black and white machine to the inside.
See what happened right there when the 71 dropped his wheels, loses his momentum.
That's the 3 of Robert Reed. Up a spot 3 wide. 5th, 6th, and 7th. This is not how you want to do this, fellas.
Nope.
Baldwin in the 25.
Smart move right there. Now watch him just outrun the 25.
Myers in the 128, and then the 2-car Jacob Pipple.
25 stuck on the high side. He's not going to be. There's nothing he can do now, and he's going to maybe lose the next position.
He might get freight trained here. Baldwin's going to have to try to tuck back.
He did good. He got down there quick. You need a spotter here for sure.
Yeah. And then Reed, Auer, and Schofield are next in line, and they're side by side. There's the 128, the 25 of Baldwin. Myers is 6th in the 128. Jacob Pipple is 5th right now in the 2, that black car with the green trim at the head of this group. 3 back there belongs to Robert Reed.
Whoa, a little loose up front. That's one of the things that's cool about these cars is that, with the DOT tires, you hear the tire squealing.
Yeah.
You know you're on the edge. Squealing tire's a happy tire.
Sure. Never heard that one before. Derek Schofield in the 9, David Auer in the 71, Robert Reed in the 3, all part of this mix of cars. There's Pipple in the 2.
And he is loose up there on the entry. That's scrubbing too much speed.
Baldwin giving up a position, it looked like, there to Derek Schofield in the 9. This is back around 7th, 8th, 9th.
It's a great scrap going on.
It is. And now as they funnel up onto the banking, if they can stay together and work together and be a little bit patient, they've got an opportunity. Auer there in the 71, the yellow car, 9th in line. So all these cars running in the top 10 of Spec Racer Ford here at Daytona International Speedway. Halfway home, we've completed 7 laps, working lap number 8.
You look at all those roll bars on top of them, got Carmen verbs sticking up everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a camera now. You can't get away with anything.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's part of playing defense. You want to be prepared to argue your case.
Yeah, well, and they do.
Before the stewards, if you need to.
And that's me all the time.
All right, but back up for a second. I was going to make this point earlier. We were talking about what you have to do in a case like this when you've got a spec class that's tightly controlled like Spec Racer Ford. Why would you hang your camera up in the Airstream like that? I mean, bringing that camera down, tucking it somewhere would save you a good bit, I would think.
You're spot on the money, and you're thinking right there, no doubt about it. That's added a little bit of drag. you know, there's other places you could hide it. I've looked at that too. I've looked at different stuff that that's like hanging your hand out the side of the car. You know, you do that at 140 miles an hour. How fast are they going here? They're doing
136 in the trap for white.
138 right there. So 138 miles an hour, you stick your hand out, which is about the size of that camera.
Yeah.
And you'll know what kind of wind pressure there is.
Jacob Pipple getting shuffled back behind the 9. Schofield has moved up to 5th now. We'll see if these two, they start to break away. Schofield and Pipple running 5th and 6th. See if they can hook up together and maybe get up and contend with the top 4.
This is getting fraught here.
Baldwin in the 25, the 128 of Bruce Myers side by side for position. Schofield there in the 71, the 87 of John Annis. And Robert Reed in the 3. This is a fight. Believe me, it's a fight.
Yeah, it's a fight.
5th through 11th in play here.
25 car there, Richard Baldwin got a little bit wide, got a slide going, and he tried to tuck back in, and all of his buddies there said, no. And he got a little bump from behind, but he didn't make it.
Schofield in the 71, John Annis in the 87. They have been alongside each other quite a bit here.
There they
You
are.
definitely put that camera down next to my helmet.
I heard
Put it
him
on one of the
say your dad's
sidebars
name.
there, yeah.
How?
Just get it out of the airflow. I think it would help you quite a bit. Here at Daytona.
Of course, knowing this is spec racer, they might have a mandatory where it has to be.
Well, not every car's got it up there. That's what I was looking at yesterday, and I thought, you know what? I don't think you have to. I wouldn't think by rule that would be there. You might be required to run a camera,
Yeah.
but not necessarily at any particular location. Here we go. The 128 of Bruce Myers on the outside here of Baldwin. Schofield tucks in behind him. 5th place car is Schofield. Pipple in the 2 car in 6th. Yeah, it is Myers in the 128 there. 7th. Schofield gets back in 8th now in front of Baldwin. So some shuffling of position back there. We'll see if they can line up 1, 2, and 3 and start getting toward the front. Next couple of cars in line, the 3 car. Annis in the 87, Reed in that black 3. They are hooked up, but it's not very pretty.
Now a little wiggling around. This is truly a fun class to drive. I mean, this is like going to the go-kart track and not getting thrown out.
Those no bumping signs don't really mean it.
No,
do they?
no.
Up front, meantime, White and Stripling continuing to run nose to tail here.
Well done now, too. Now they finally, I don't know if it's because White has backed it down so it can happen or if Stripling's found something, but in any event, they're nice and tidy. They're real close together. And as a result of that they're gone. They're gone. I mean, that battle for what would have been 3rd place is not even in the same county anymore. They're from the same division, so they race each other a lot. I'm sure they've done this before.
Yeah, best lap time, White with a 2:16.7.
Man, look at the lead they have.
2:16.712.
Remember how close 3rd place was before?
Not so much.
No, it's a quarter mile back.
Yeah.
That's because these guys have finally decided, let's make it a 2-car deal. There's nobody in that picture. There they are right there.
Because of the draft, these 2 leaders have been running nose to tail for much of the race. 3rd and 4th also hooked up together. But just to show you the difference, McNish and Sweeney, 3rd and 4th now. McNish has taken over 3rd from Sweeney. Their best lap times 4/10 slower than White and Stripling, and they're almost identical as well.
Yeah, they could have switched positions too for the overheating situation. I mean, at some point, you got to be cognizant of your engine temp.
This will be lap number 10 on the board next time by.
Look how good these guys have worked together before, for sure. You lose efficiency when the engine gets to above a certain point. You'll start not being able to run as fast, temperature-wise, right? So you have to work one another, work with one another.
White is led all the way in the 58 car, races out of Huntsville, Alabama. 2nd place car, Denny Stripling out of McKinney, Texas, races out of the Texas region.
Cars look good still. You know, that body design goes all the way back to end of 83, beginning of 84.
Always thought they looked like a small Can-Am car.
Yeah, they do.
That's what makes them so cool.
Yeah, they look like a 70 series Can-Am car without the wing.
All right, we'll see if Stripling here can, well, he just dropped down, maybe again, just to take in some cooler air in the air intake of that car. Looked like he was going to drop down and try to take the lead, perhaps, but.
Without a yellow, it's down to these 2 guys, and that's exactly what they had in mind.
With White out in front, he's led all the way so far after qualifying on the pole. Stripling in the 5 has run 2nd since the early laps as they work the S's here in the infield section.
kind of what Hayward was talking about with these spec classes. Even though that everybody should be able to run the same speeds and stuff, what we've seen throughout the weekend here is that there's a breakaway that happens on every class.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 2. In this case, these two put their efforts to 1, and nobody's been able to match them on as a combo.
White, Denny Stripling, 1 and 2 here at Daytona.
Stripling's got a little bit of that lower radiator pushed up in there, but it's not closed off that opening yet. So, but it's lost its integrity. So you have to watch that you don't hit hard. Once that thing closes off, you have no choice.
Final the high banks here at Daytona International Speedway.
And that's perfect. Look. Well, now that time he moved up a little bit, and he might be getting warm.
Top 2 cars you're watching right here in Spec Racer 4. They have opened up an 11-second gap over the 3rd and 4th place cars. Nate McNeish in the 122, Herb Sweeney in the 34. They've also been working together, but they've been unable to keep the leaders in sight.
One thing about it with the runoffs, it's always the last race of the year, so if your engine's hot, so be it. We'll buy a new one next year, whatever you have to do.
White and Stripling apparently will settle Spec Racer 4 between themselves. One of our shots here looking back toward turn 2 of the oldest on the super stretch as the cars arrow down toward the bus stop.
Say that again. It's the big race really right there.
Back to our battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. The 9, Eric Schofield leading this group. He is 5th overall in that black and white machine. Pipple in the green and black 2 car. Running in 6th, Bruce Myers, John Annis, Dave Auer, Robert Reed, the rest of the top 10, Richard Baldwin. He gave us our Garmin Curve onboard lap of Daytona earlier in the broadcast. He's dropped back to 11th now. A couple of cars drafted together on the high side.
Too. Look at them.
That's Annis and Auer, perhaps, working their way by Bruce Myers here.
Number 8.
One thing that's astounded me through the weekend, and it holds true right now, is that these cars running this close on this speedway have been remarkably clean. We haven't had any big ones. We haven't had any ugliness, as I like to call it. You know, they put on a great show. There's a 71 getting ugly with a big spin out of turn 1. Going to back it into the wall.
Spoke too soon. David Auer running in that top 10 position.
That was my fault.
Spins into the inside concrete and is able to refire. Now, there's a lot of dirt up on the racetrack. We'll see if that affects anybody else.
I think he'll be all right. Like I said, these cars will take the side impact like nothing.
I was going to say, I thought we might end up in a full course yellow situation, but Auer ran out of racetrack.
Yeah, got off too wide on the outside, got the dirt, big spin, and he pancakes the ball right here. I don't think
not hard.
No, not hard. If he didn't bend the left front suspension, he'll be all right.
John Annis in the 87, part of that top 10 battle. We've got the 128 of Myers trying to get back by the 3 of Robert Reed for 8th spot. There's Pipple in the 2. Schofield in the 9. Right now, Pipple getting back into 5th position. Going around Schofield, who held 5th spot.
Yeah, he might lose that spot because he got loose down there. You see the hand signals I was talking about before. He says, no, don't pass me. Stay in line. Get in behind me. Push me.
Looks to me as though Schofield's got a little more speed than Pipple does.
Well, they get back there because of the slide, but I'm sure these guys have been playing this game for a while. And watch out, Schofield there, when he pushed it to the outside, you know, when he wasn't completely square to the back of the car, that'll turn you.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't take much in these cars.
And that's not what you're going to have, because you'll get a penalty for that. I see a local debris flag right there. I'm sure that's just for the bus stop, which is always full of sand and body parts.
Pipple saying, hey, draw up on me here. Look at that wave to Schofield as it goes in. Yeah, we've watched enough onboard laps here today and yesterday as well. You see, coming off the bus stop, you'll drop the left front.
Yeah. It digs a hole.
Yeah.
You know, it'll dig a hole, and then you'll start slamming the chassis down. You know, these guys, if they keep this up, and that's what the hand signals are about, are trying to run down third place car, which is not that far in front of them. You know, they're probably picking up 8 to 10 mile per hour on the straightaway. But they got 2 laps to see if it works.
Pipple in the 2, the 9 of Schofield running in 5th and 6th. McNeish in the 122 still
sloppy
third.
there, sloppy turn 1. Oh,
there's the 122 and the 34 fighting it out for third. McNeish has that spot.
Well, that's
Sweeney in 4th, and here comes Schofield.
That's going to change the whole complexity of things. Those 2 cars are slow now because they got off.
The 2 and the 9, running 5th and 6th. Pipple in the 2, Schofield in the 9.
This is going to be a heck of a battle here. Look at it. Yeah, I know you're there.
They have just about gotten to McNeish in the 122 and Sweeney in the 34. Those two starting to get after a little bit. Sweeney trying to find a way around the 122 car.
Sweeney made the mistake last lap. That cost him momentum. And look now, they're going to have
he's slipping around. I wonder, yeah, these tires, pretty hard tires, but they may have gone away on that.
They're just at the last 2 laps. That's all that is. They're just driving all they can get out of them. And I think this is going to be a whale of a battle between all 4 of these cars.
White flag next time by.
Second group much cleaner. They got a big run. Watch the black and green car. He really nailed that corner. He's got a lot of momentum, but he needs his drafting partner.
122 of McNeish, the red car ahead there, 3rd.
Go above him, go above, don't.
So podium spots in play. Pipple in the 2. See, 9 cars
no
still a lot quicker getting off that corner.
Well, I'd have done the same thing. Those guys slowed themselves up.
Yeah.
Schofield's going to go right by him.
Sweeney'd been slipping and sliding in the infield last time by. Pipple will pull out maybe now and help Schofield there in the 9 car. So Schofield trying to draw a bead on the 122. The 34 car of Herb Sweeney, he'd been in that top 4 running position all race long. Now he's got shuffled back to 7.
You're working last lap, and the guy that you're working with makes a mistake. What do? You leave him.
So Schofield and Pipple still working together to get around the 122, or rather the 34, I should say, of Sweeney. The 122 of McNeish all alone now as your 2 leaders come along and see the white flag. Final time here.
Nobody's going to touch them. It's whether or not the 5 can do anything at all. You know, with Stripling, if he can do something to White, he's got to do it pretty soon.
This is your battle for honors in Spec Racer Ford in these 2015 SCCA National Championship
Here's a good
runoffs.
spot. Try it.
Final time around the 3.5 mile Daytona International Speedway layout. White continuing to hold on here.
This is getting sloppy.
Side by side for position further back. The 9 car of Schofield up in 3rd now. Being scored 3rd that time by. He did get by the 122. So McNeish gives up 3rd position. Here comes Pipple.
Yeah, Schofield did what he had to do. That was a good move back there. Dumped his teammate.
Wow.
Or his drafting partner and went on about business.
Great scramble for 3rd spot. Derek Schofield takes it away from Lee McNeish in the 122. Meantime, Cliff White has led all the way in the 58. Does he have enough to hold off Stripling for the championship?
I think he does, but Stripling's got to be creative. And he's running out of places to do it. Prime time would be up here in the bus stop, but I don't think he's close enough to get what he needs. Maybe.
White and Stripling, your top 2 cars. They are 16 seconds ahead of the 3rd place car, Derek Schofield. And Cliff White starting to pull away a little bit here from Denny Stripling.
It just comes down to how bad you want it. Are you willing to throw it away for a first, or are you just willing to take
second? Are you happy with a silver medal, or do you say, hey, I'm going to try everything in the book?
Yeah, I mean, it's your one shot. It's right down here.
White leader into the bus stop. Final time around for Spec Racer Ford.
If you get through here clean enough, just get that draft. Both of them look pretty equal through that.
Up out of the banking. White about 2 car lengths to the good.
It's almost over.
Let's watch now. Can he get drawn into it? He's moving up very slowly.
White on the inside.
He's coming.
Stripling in the 5 is going to try to slingshot him here. White protects the bottom. They'll force Stripling.
This is going to be close.
Stripling gets a little bit of a toe coming off the corner.
He's going
Stripling
to get it.
trying to steal it from Cliff White in the front corner. White below the line, and White by a fender will win. Cliff White prevails after leading the entire distance. Stripling might have edged in front briefly there.
And they did it cleanly, which is what's really cool about that.
Camera hunting the 3rd place car. Looks as though McNeish has gotten back to 3rd in the 122, and he is going to hold on. So Lee McNeish rallies after getting passed for 3rd earlier in the lap. Comes home with a podium spot, 18 seconds behind the top 2. But a terrific fight.
Good stuff.
Last lap between Cliff White and Denny Stripling.
Denny Stripling, I tell you what, that was a heck of an effort right there. I don't think he's got anything more than a 2nd place car, and took it to the lead for about a foot.
Yeah.
White's car has been dominant, no question about that. But that was a setup. It was run perfectly. It was